We're going to take these pieces of wood right here, and we are going to turn these into this. We're going to make a coffee table and 2 end tables out of those pieces. There's many ways of making side tables and coffee tables. This design that I'm using today is one of different ways that you can actually build a table. I'm actually using this style that you're going to see because it has 3 points of connection to each leg to give it more stability, and that's what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and build. This project is a simple design. We're going to actually use pocket holes. I've modified this from original side table that I made a few years back. We're going to have a piece hang over on the top that's actually going to hold the legs more stable, so they'll actually last for years of use outside. We've got to cut our different pieces for our sides, for our tables. We're going to cut 3 inches wide off of this board. For our legs, we're going to use this right here. We're going to cut them 1.5 by 1.5, so all 4 legs will be the same size around. But for our top pieces, going to be just over 2 inches, give or take. That depends on your spacing and how you're actually going to space it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out our different pieces. Cut out the bottom piece, which is the actual frame for your top that will go underneath, and you won't see it because it'll be underneath the table. Then we're going to cut out our 3-inch pieces, and then we'll cut out our legs, and then we'll go ahead and drill our pocket holes. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to cut out all of our rough pieces, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you how we'll put it all together. And we're going to cut out our legs out of a 2x6. We're going to raise the blade, get our actual size set up. All right, so now we've got all our major pieces cut out. So let's go ahead and we'll look at how we're going to actually do the side pieces and put in the pocket holes. So after we get all of our pieces cut that we need, now it's time to actually put everything together. So let's take a quick look at our pieces and how many of each we're going to need. Go over to the sides. Got our pocket holes in. We've got our notches notched out. Remember to do that. It's going to be the size of your leg to give us that. Each piece is going to be 17¼ inches long, and it's going to be 3 inches wide. You're going to need 4 of these for your end tables. For your coffee table, these are 30 inches. Side to side, this is going to be your front and back, so you're going to need 2 pieces for that. And you're going to need 2 of your 17¼ inch pieces for your sides. Each of your legs are 1.5 by 1.5 all the way around. For the side table, your length is going to be 17 inches. For your coffee table, it's going to be 15. For your top, for your side table, you're going to need 7 pieces each, depending on your spacing. And they're going to be approximately 15.5 inches long. Each one is going to be a little bit different depending on if you're using common wood like I am, if it's perfectly straight or not. So you might have to cut each of those individually. For your coffee table, you're going to need 12 pieces to make your top. So let's go ahead and put everything together and we'll finish up the tables. So we've got our piece cut to 17¼ inches long. What we're going to end up with is we want to notch off and we want to have a 3/4 inch piece on the top, which is where our boards are going to slide in. You'll see how that goes later on. So the way we're going to do that is we've got to actually notch out on either end. The best way to check the depth is get one of your legs and actually put that on the side to make sure that you've got that correct. Just line that up and make sure it's even so you can see that you are going to cut it in the right area. Now, depending on what you have in your shop or at home, you can either cut this out with a jigsaw, cut it out by hand, or you can use a bandsaw. So for the legs, I made a template for the sides so the legs will fit together and line up. Greatest saw ever. All right, so the next thing we got to do is we got to take our side pieces. Now that we've got our notches cut out here and here for our top, we got to put our pocket holes in for our pocket hole screws. There's a bunch of different types of pocket hole jigs, and I've got a bunch of different ones, but this is the one that I like for this because it's real straightforward. I got this one on Amazon. Thickness of your wood, and there's a scale here to set this. Thickness of our wood is 3/4, so we're going to set that at 3/4, and we're going to mount this, and then we'll drill through there. Main thing to remember is there's a collar on your actual bit. You have to set that to the depth, and I've got that preset, so you might want to test it out and play with it before you get started. Tighten our board up. Drill out our pocket holes. Loosen our board, flip it over, make sure that we're on the same side. Get all 4 pieces done, and then we'll go on to the next step, which is actually mounting the legs to the side frames and build the rest of the table from there. So we've got our pocket holes all done. We take 2 of our pieces because we're going to use those 2. We're going to set the other 2 aside because we're going to need those, and we're going to actually need to trim off the ends here so the 2 pieces will fit together, and you'll see that later on. Always dry fit to make sure that everything lines up correctly. So the next thing we want to do is we want to get some glue on everything before we put the pocket hole screws in. We're going to lay our piece down, take our pocket hole screws, get those started. We'll go ahead and start putting our screws in, and remember to go slow so you don't destroy it, and then I hand tighten them once I get them in. So we're ready to put the coffee table together. Difference between the coffee table, our legs are going to be 15 inches long, and our top is going to be 30 inches point to point. Our sides are still going to be the same at 17 to put our coffee table together. So let's go ahead and glue this. Remember correctly, we cut all of our 4 pieces the same size. But in reality, it's just easier that way for me. Here's our gap right here that we need to fill. So we're going to have to cut the ends off our pieces so they'll fit. And I do those by hand and at the end to make sure that everything fits right. So we get that. So it goes like that. So we get those pieces cut off. And so then you can see how that's going to fit together like so. And that'll put our joint together. One thing to remember is check your joints inside here where your two cuts come together. There could be some buildup. There can be some buildup right in there, which will keep it from fitting together properly. So I take a chisel and make sure that's all cleaned out. So there's many different ways of actually putting these things together. I want to show you why I chose this particular design for this. Remember, we are using soft wood. So the sturdier we can make it, the more stability that we'll have. So remember, we put our two pocket holes and our pocket hole screws in there. So that's our one support with glue there. Now what I did on the top is I put this across there, which gives us a seam right here. So that's our double that we have locked in right now. So now we've got double the strength for our legs. All right, so we have our pieces together. Because I'm gluing this myself, I put a clamp on the back. I'm going to go ahead and glue our two side pieces. We'll get those lined up and glue those and put the pocket screws in. So I've got my furring strips. I've taken them block with 3/4 inch thickness that the top's going to be. Check that out all the way across and mark that all the way around. Put glue on my little strips. And I'll take those and line those up with my line. We're going to glue those down. Take my pin nailer and we're going to pin those in. Do that on all sides. So as you can see, we've got our furring strip there. This is going to allow our boards to sit on the edge, and then we'll take those all the way across and we'll have our top made. So I've got this tilted a little bit so you can see putting the top on. We've already put our furring strips and everything in. Each of the center pieces are 2 1/4, and I've got the spacers, so depending on how wide you want them, you're going to have enough spacers to go through for each one. On this particular table, the 2 end pieces are 2 1/4. So now all you got to do is we'll put the glue on the edges and we'll glue everything down. So take our glue, we've got our little piece right here, as you can see right here. This frame is all the way around. We're going to put glue on that and on the side, and we'll start putting our pieces in one by one. So I've got glue on each piece. So put our spacers in. Put our first piece in. Get that down. Do our second one. Got our spacing. And we go through and we do this until we have all our pieces in place. So we got all our pieces in, we got them glued. So we have those all down. And we'll pull out all of our spacers so we can reuse those. And then to help it square off and line everything up, put a couple of clamps on it. We'll go ahead and let that dry, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll sand everything down smooth and smooth out everything on top. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put adjustable feet on this, so in case your floor, if you're putting this on the patio, that you had an uneven patio, you can adjust the feet. So the first thing we got to do, if you're already square on your actual legs, the easiest way to find the center is draw across and across. We're going to do that for each foot. Then what I've done is I've bought these adjustable feet on Amazon. Come in 2 pieces. There's your feet. Put those in, so we got to make sure that we don't drill our bigger hole too deep for that, and we got to drill the inner hole deeper so we can actually screw these in. So you can put those in like that. Just have little grab spikes that you're going to pound in, and I always put just a little bit of glue around the edge. So let's go ahead and put these on. So what I've done for that is I've got my 2 drill bits, and I've put tape around for the depth that I need to go into each one. Biggest thing is you want to have it as straight as possible. We got those drilled out. Now we're going to drill the inner piece down in so we can make sure our feet grab. Get those all drilled out. Now we got our hammer. We take a little bit of glue, put around the edges. Pull out our 4 pieces. Make sure you get the hole lined up. And you're just going to pound those in. So we got those in. And we'll go ahead and screw our feet in. Now we've got all 4 of our adjustable feet in so that you can adjust it to any floor level. Flip that over. And there we go. We have our table set. And we're all ready to go. So now we finished our outdoor patio set. Finished the other one up. Sell that. Always remember, dream, think, design, build, and learn. I'll see you in the shop.